Welcome to your favourite day of the week, everyone, where it's day number 19 of our advent calendar, where every day up until Christmas and Christmas itself, we're going for a strange and funny story that has happened in history. Yesterday, we went through the fastest surgeon in the West End, who sliced off someone's testicles as well as their leg. And today, we're going into the deep, dark secrets of the Cold War. So let's see what's behind door number 19. The time America almost nuked the moon. The year is 1958, and the American public is gripped in a state of fear and anxiety as Cold War tensions are rising. Since the end of World War II, the USA and Soviet Russia have been locking horns in an ever-escalating dick measuring contest that has now developed into the space race. The year prior, on October the 4th, 1957, the Soviets took first blood as they launched the first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, into space. America had been falling behind and needed to turn the tide to prove to the world it hadn't lost the space race before it even began. They needed a show of strength to raise national confidence, but also to remind the world that it was squarely in the race and they are indeed a dominant superpower. In our timeline, America ultimately took the final blow by putting the first man on the moon on the 20th of July, 1969. Nice. However, in May 1958, the US Air Force put a top secret project into motion. The project's title sounded not too dissimilar to a college student's harmless essay, with the name of A Study of Lunar Research Flights. In an attempt to one-up the Russians and show the world who was winning this space-related dick measuring contest, America's plan was to detonate a nuclear explosion on the moon. The project was led by leading physicist Leonard Rifle, who had later gone to hold the position of Deputy Director of the Apollo program. The US Air Force asked Rifle to fast-track the project to investigate the viability and effects of a theoretical nuclear explosion on the moon. In a 2000 interview, Rifle said, "It was clear the main aim of the proposed detonation was a PR exercise and a show of one-upmanship. The Air Force wanted a mushroom cloud so large it would be visible from Earth." This was America's slam dunk in a display of force demonstrating their advanced weaponry in order to intimidate the Soviets and also reassure the great American public they are still a power to be reckoned with. But we all know that America never actually nuked the moon, so what happened to the project? Rifle led a 10-person team of highly reputable scientists, including a young Carl Sagan and a Dutch astronomer, Gerard Kuiper, who is now considered by many to be the father of modern planetary science. From May 1958 till January 1959, the team studied the effects a nuclear blast would have on the moon, which included dust, gas behaviour, and visual impact if it occurred on the dark or light side of the moon. Although the delivery system for the bomb to get to the moon was never disclosed, Rifle and his team claimed it would be technically feasible to hit the target 238,000 miles away within an accuracy of 2 miles. Which is impressive, as a trip to the bathroom would show that most men can't hit a target that's 2 feet away from them. Rifle's 1959 report states that the explosion would have had scientific and military benefits, as well as the obvious political ones. 3 instruments would be placed on the moon before the explosion to take measurements that would help scientists learn about the composition and geological makeup of the moon, and it could expose any microbial life. The bomb would also be of use in discerning the capability of nuclear weapons in space warfare, in case aliens invaded, or if the space race developed into the Soviets constructing a Death Star and becoming the first galactic empire.
Don't know the power of the
Soviet Union.
The project was due to be executed in summer of 1959, but was eventually shelved due to a variety of reasons, but mostly due to safety concerns. The blast would have been small in relative terms, but there was fears of the moon's pristine lunar surface becoming contaminated by radioactive material. Rifle's report stated, "If such biological contamination of the moon occurred, it would represent an unparalleled scientific disaster, eliminating several possibly very fruitful approaches to such problems as the early history of the solar system, the chemical composition of matter in the remote past, the origin of life on Earth, and possibly extraterrestrial life. Of course, any space venture comes with its fair share of risk, and the chance of the nuclear device exploding prematurely within the Earth's atmosphere was not to be ignored. The nuclear fallout of the bomb would have been catastrophic. Rifle claimed in a 2012 interview, if the bomb had been detonated, it would have left a crater that would have been essentially invisible from Earth, even with a good telescope. The mushroom cloud America was hoping for wouldn't have been as spectacular as they planned, as the mushrooms are caused from the movement of dust and debris in a dense atmosphere. The moon is essentially a vacuum without atmosphere like Earth's, so there would just be a lot of dust. But people from Earth may have got a pretty sight as the sun would shine through the dust and debris kicked up. So looking at this project now, we may think that America's absolutely crazy and how could they nuke the moon? But as it turns out, the Soviets also had a similar project planned that same year. It was codenamed E, with Project E1 which had plans to reach the moon. E2 and E3 involved sending a probe to the far side of the moon to take photographs of the surface, and E4 was to be a nuclear strike as a display of force. And similarly to America's project, it was cancelled in the planning stages due to concerns of safety. The Soviets also believed that the flash from the explosion wouldn't last long enough to catch on film, so the entire thing would be pointless in a propaganda piece. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 put a stop to any such plans like this occurring in the future, with weapons of mass destruction and nuclear bombs not being allowed in space, and the moon was for peaceful ventures only. So I hope you've all enjoyed day 19 of our advent calendar, everyone. Nuking the moon is something out of science fiction, and it could have possibly happened. And also, in 1985, Nixon and Gorbachev agreed to stop the Cold War if aliens invaded. Join us tomorrow where we learn about the craziest Roman emperor ever. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that, and I'll see you all then. Peace.